Hey guys, Scott here. Back to the doom and gloom. It's been one day. So today I wanted to talk about something that's a bit sobering, and it does involve all of the discussion about DBD lately. As I'm sure you've seen by now, most content creators, and I'd say most people, adjacent to them, are not happy with the state of the game. They are very upset with the PTB. One of the main things that I wanted to talk about at the start here was the whole concept of doing the Operation Health. Now, back like a year ago, I actually made a video where I said that's likely not going to work because I don't know what has made people crazy enough to think that even if they were given several extra months, that they would suddenly possess the skill to fix these things. Another reason it might not work is that let's assume we give them 3 months to finally fix a lot of these main issues. That just assumes that behavior suddenly just figures out how to fix these issues. It doesn't mean if you give them a period of time to actually fix this stuff, it doesn't just suddenly mean that they know how to fix this stuff now. Like, they do not exactly have a great history of fixing bugs and fixing hugely problematic things in the game. So I'm not sure why people think suddenly if we gave them 3 months to do that, they would just suddenly be better at it. Like, just because they have more time doesn't mean they just suddenly know how to fix everything. And that really kind of seems to be what's happening here. This is like, the delay. We are not getting new content until later. And this was supposed to be like, the big bug fix and making everything a lot better. But everything is pretty much the exact same. They dedicated this extra time to essentially not doing much of anything. And that is one of the most insulting parts about it. We gave them the extra time, but kind of like I said earlier, it doesn't just magically mean they're just suddenly better at making games. Like, they're just still going to have the same exact issues as before. So that is one of the main things that is disappointing people. We were kind of promised some quality of life, which I guess survivors were getting. Quality of life when it's like 17 more pallets. It's just quality of life. And we were promised a lot of bug fixes, and I'm sure you've seen from like every main posting 7,000 bugs with their current killer. It's just nothing really has gotten better, and we're getting no new content. This is the exact situation that I was kind of worried about. Now, every one of these content creators has made videos, and I've watched all of them, and all of them, for the most part, are something I would just completely agree with. And the part I wanted to go over here in this actual video is how disconnected that is from the actual reality of the game. I saw like a post on Reddit saying like, Otz is upset, is this mark the end? This is like the mark the end for the 17th time when a content creator is upset with the game, by the way. But a lot of people think that when lots of content creators and avid players are upset, that this is where the game is starting to die. This is the beginning of the end. And the sobering part about this video that I'm hoping to show you and express how futile a lot of this stuff is, that's just simply not the case. If we draw a line from the game's launch to right now, that line is going nowhere but up. There's been a couple of bips and dumps, fuck it, up and down, and that doesn't matter because, if you're looking at the stock market, looking at your retirement plan, you're looking at the long-term trajectory, and no matter what, this game is just gaining and gaining players overall. This game is consistently in the top 10, top 15, top 20 on Steam, like for almost a decade now. That is an incredibly impressive run for a game that is as shoddy and jank as Dead by Daylight. That is an extremely popular game. Now, you would think, because all of these content creators and people that are avidly, upset about the game and talking and joining discussions and community discussions about all this stuff, you would think because all these people are upset that there would be an impact on the actual player count. Not really, though, because A, a lot of these people actually don't end up quitting, even if they say that they will. B, these people are the minority of the player base. Like, for example, a potentially sobering fact again, Otstarva is probably the biggest DBD content creator that we actually have in the game. And the vast majority of DBD players do not watch him. I think people kind of underestimate just how many people play DBD a day and how many people watch content creators a day. Like, even if Otz has, hundreds of thousands of videos on his video, there are still millions of players a day. That's assuming every single person that watches his videos is an avid player. A lot of the time, it's not. It's people that have quit and they're just keeping up with it. So the truth is, the vast majority of people don't even watch the most popular content creator on the entire games community. And that is why I think so much of this is so frustrating. Otz made a great, 50-minute video going over all the issues with all this stuff. And the people that need to hear these things The developers are one of them, but the casual players that need to hear this too are not listening, and they don't give a shit. Most people that play this game just launch it for 30 minutes, play two games at 2v8. That was fun. Let's go play Fortnite now. That is the average DBD player. That is where likely a lot of their money comes from. And that is not necessarily what they're catering to, but that is what makes this game's player base so consistent. It's not the people with 10,000 hours that are giving the game the majority of the hours. It's the silent majority that are just doing their own thing, not consuming content, not ranting on Twitter, not watching these videos, discussions, not giving balancing feedback. They're not joining PTBs. They just log on for 30 minutes a day, and then that's about it. That's the majority of the player base. So when we have all of these discussions where we're like saying, hey, you guys need to understand how bad this shit is for the game, they're not hearing it. And so even if we're saying this is bad, it's going to result in the game going downhill and stuff like that, the truth is it just won't, because those people aren't listening to the completely valid complaints that are being set forth. They're just going to go, haha, 2v8, I Dracula. That's all I'm not even trying to make fun of them. That's the majority of the player base. They're just simple. They just want simple fun and nothing crazier than that. And that's all they look towards this game for. So much so a lot of people have actually suggested that you make 2v8 the regular DBD and make regular DBD the new ranked mode and go like a bit harder in that, because 2v8 has clearly shown that it's a casual favorite. And every time 2v8 starts, the player count skyrockets. It always goes up every single time, indicating that there's a bunch of casual players that don't log on to deal with the annoying shit in the regular game, but then when 2v8 happens, then it's a game mode built for them. So it shows it really is built on the backs, at least player base wise, of the casual player. Now, monetarily, I'm not sure how different that would be, because you would think, well, if a casual player logs on 30 minutes, they might buy a cosmetic and then that's about it. But then you have someone that plays, 30 hours a week, they might be more inclined to buy more things. I guess the ratio they would have to understand there is buying one thing by 5,000 people better than buying 10 things from, 50 people? Or I'm sure they've concocted a correct algorithm to determine which is going to give them more money, and they seem to just be succeeding. I don't know how to describe it any better. The player count continues to go up despite more and more problems. It's basically become Pokemon, where there are just so little effort put into so many things. Again, some things have great effort, like the aesthetics and stuff are usually still 10 out of 10. Trailers are still usually great and stuff like that. But the actual balancing, it reminds me of Pokemon, where it's just sort of that. It's just the slop that people will eat because it's comfortable to them and they know what they're getting and they don't really care one way or the other of how it goes. That's the most frustrating part about all of these discussions, all these videos that I have been seeing. The developers know a lot of these problems, but the people that need to hear these things to understand how problematic a lot of these things are just simply aren't watching or just don't give a shit. So it's almost futile to even make those types of discussions to begin with. And that, I think, is the most depressing part about all these well-made criticisms. They're just not even being listened to by the right people. So how do we change that? You can't. That's the thing. They're never going to want to watch that stuff, because then by definition, they wouldn't be a casual player anymore that's now taking the next step into going to extra game activities and looking up more information about it. You can't, I don't know how to do that unless there was literally a direct link in game to videos. Like if, you launch the game and there was a tutorial section now, and the tutorial section would lead to an OTS video of, how to play X or whatever. That is the only way I could see you could actually meld casual players and everybody else together and have an actual conversation that would include everybody. That's the only way you can do it. But the whole point of this video is I just want to kind of reiterate how disconnected a lot of content creators are and the people that are adjacent to them to the overall player base that does not give a shit what we're talking about at all. They just don't care. Not only do they don't care, they don't even know we're talking because they're not watching the videos anyway. So it seems like an unfixable problem. This is a bit of a nihil kind of thing. And I don't really know how to fix that. I'm curious if you guys have more suggestions on how to get casual players to understand problems that are happening with the game more, other than directly putting it in their face in the game itself. But I don't really know how to do that. I just thought it would be an interesting thing to talk about because it's kind of a sad thing that's happening. But that's it. See you next time.